Meine sehr geehrten Damen und Herren,
Ladies and gentlemen,
und Aktionäre,
shareholders,
ich eröffne hiermit die
I hereby call the 58th Ordinary Annual General Meeting of Volkswagen Aktiengesellschaft to order, and I will share the meeting. Many of you have accepted our invitation. I would like to thank you for this and would like to extend a very cordial welcome to you. I would also like to extend a cordial welcome to our guests, the ladies and gentlemen from the media, and those who follow our AGM over the Internet. I should like to point out to you that we have an extra attendance space at level A of this building in case this hall should not suffice in order to accommodate all shareholders. Signposts and our security personnel will guide you to level A, where you will also find the vehicle exhibition. There you can also follow the meeting. It will be displayed on giant screens, but you will not be able to participate in the general debate and in the voting on the resolutions. In order to do so, you would have to appear here at the conference hall at the B level. Ladies and gentlemen, the realignment of the Volkswagen Group within the scope of the Group Strategy Together 2025 and the investigation into the diesel crisis characterized the business year 2017. Despite of the challenges, the Group was able to present an excellent result. This is the result of an excellent teamwork of all employees of the Group, all co-workers of the Group, of the brands, of the divisions, and of the Board of Management. And I would like to express my cordial thanks for this. Let me first of all make the necessary formal statements. The notarial minutes, which is necessary on account of the Stock Corporation Act, will be held by Notary Raki here at the center of the stage. On top of this, we'll have a hall notary who is available at the speaker's registration desk on the left-hand side. He will assist Notary Raki and will also take note of possible contradictions or questions. The AGM has been convened in accordance with the Articles of Association. The convocation of the AGM was published on March 13, 2018 in the Federal Gazette. Ladies and gentlemen, as soon as we will have the attendance figures, I will announce them to the meeting. Apart from this, the list of attendance will be updated continually. You can inspect the list of attendance on the terminals, which are available at the entrances to the conference hall at the B level. Should you want to leave the attendance area early or prematurely or temporarily, please take account of the checkout and re-check-in conditions, and this information has been made available to the shareholders and shareholder representatives in the form of a leaflet, information leaflet, which you received at the registration desk. All the participants in the AGM are kindly requested to take all their belongings with them, even if they only leave the meeting temporarily, and particularly take your bags with you for security reasons. Ladies and gentlemen, you have received tickets, admission tickets from your custodian bank, which you were able to swap for voting card blocks. Should you not have attained them for all your entry tickets or admission tickets, please do so now in your own interest. Otherwise, these shares will not participate in the voting process. Only ordinary shareholders and their representatives are entitled to vote at this AGM. I would also like to kindly ask you to switch your mobile phones or smartphones into silent mode and not to use them here at the convention hall, so that we can have our meeting without any disruptions. As of the beginning of the general debate, no photographs or videos or video recordings may be made. Part of the attendance areas are level A and level B. In this attendance area, please behave in such a manner that shareholders who want to listen to the transmission of the AGM will not be disrupted. As you can read from the indications at the entrances, there will be a CCTV surveillance in the building, but there won't be any unfounded recording. This measure has been taken for reasons of security and for your own safety. That much about the formal statements. Since our last AGM, esteemed members of the Volkswagen Group have passed away. I should like to invite you now to rise and observe a minute of silence in memory of our deceased colleagues.
Meine Damen und Herren, danke.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you that you have risen to honor the deceased.
Meine Damen und Herren,
Ladies and gentlemen, I hereby find that all members of the Board of Management are present. I will talk about the new composition of the Board of Management presently. Dr. Kiesling is excused on the part of the Supervisory Board. She cannot attend the meeting on account of an unpostponable obligation. The other members of the Supervisory Board of the Volkswagen Aktiengesellschaft are all present here today. First of all, I will give you the summary report of the Supervisory Board, and will also talk about the changes of the Supervisory Board since the last AGM, and we'll also talk about the recommendations of the German Corporate Governance Code. After my presentation, the board will give their report, and then there will be the general debate. After the general debate, we will proceed to the votings.
Ladies and gentlemen, to begin the report of the Supervisory Board, I should like to express my gratitude and great appreciation to the members of the Board of Management, the Works Council, the management, all employees of Volkswagen Aktiengesellschaft, and the employees of affiliated companies. With their personal dedication and commitment, great loyalty, and the willingness to support the changes started, they all have really contributed to the fact that the Volkswagen Group was able to complete fiscal year 2017 in a very successful manner, and moreover also developed very positively in many areas as part of our group strategy. Looking back, we can say that in the past 2.5 years, we have already achieved a lot. The Volkswagen Group, since fall 2015, has not just had to cope with the biggest crisis in its corporate history. We've always been faced with a challenge in parallel to gear up for an epochal change in the automotive industry. And we are happy to be able to say today, both things have been mastered and are being mastered very successfully by our company. In dealing with the diesel crisis, we've made major progress. Furthermore, Volkswagen has set the course for a fundamental change, which has no equal in our industry. On the basis of its very ambitious strategy together, the group has realigned itself, the strategy together, Strategy 2025, and at the same time has proven that it's got remarkable economic power. Integrity and compliance form the foundation of everything we do. And this is something that we've been anchoring even stronger in the framework of our decisions and processes. This is not last something that we owe to Matthias Müller, who has achieved excellent results for our company. He has not just steered Volkswagen with brilliance and unerringly through difficult times. At the same time, he has initiated the necessary change of culture, and with a lot of personal commitment and dedication, he's made sure that the Volkswagen Group has not just stayed on track, but that it's more rugged and robust than ever before in operating and strategic terms. I should like to use this opportunity
Vielen Dank.
Thank you. I should like to thank Matthias Müller at this point here on behalf of the entire company.
Auf die Aufarbeitung der Dieselkrise und
The investigation of the diesel crisis and the new management structure is something that I'm going to address later in detail. But first of all, let me turn to the report of the Supervisory Board. Ladies and gentlemen, since the end of the last ordinary
Volkswagen
AGM last year, we've had some personal or composition changes at the Supervisory Board of Volkswagen Aktiengesellschaft.
17
As of the 14th of December 2017, the federal state, the Land Lower Saxony, sent a new Deputy Premier and Minister of Economic Affairs, Labour, Traffic and Digitization, Dr. Bernd Althusmann, to the Supervisory Board of Volkswagen AG as the successor of Mr. Olaf Lies.
Frau
Annika Falkengren resigned from her office as a member of the Supervisory Board with effect from February 5, 2018. The Registry Court Braunschweig or Brunswick, with effect of the 14th of 2018, appointed Marianne Heiss until the end of today's annual general meeting as a member of the Supervisory Board. As you could take from the agenda, the Supervisory Board proposes Ms. Heiss to be elected for a full term of office as a member of the Supervisory Board today. At this point, I'd like to give Ms. Heiss the opportunity to introduce herself. Ms. Heiss, I'd like to ask you to take the microphone.
Thank you,
Mr. Pölsch, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Marianne Heiss. I studied auditing, management, personnel, and organizational development, as well as corporate accounting. My professional career, well, I started that in economic auditing and tax advisory services. For 25 years, I've been working internationally in different positions. BBDO, I've been the Chief Financial Officer here in Germany for 5 years. It's a company of Omnicom Inc., listed at the New York Stock Exchange, and I must say, I'd be very happy and grateful if you actually accepted and welcomed me as part of the Supervisory Board. Thank you.
Ja, vielen Dank, Frau Heiss.
Thank you, Ms. Heiss.
Beendigung dieser Hauptversammlung
At the end of this annual general meetings is also the end of the term of office of Dr. Wolfgang Porsche. This is on schedule. The Supervisory Board proposes to elect him for another full term of office. The Supervisory Board checked with Ms. Heiss and Dr. Porsche, making sure that they will be able to spend the necessary time on their activities on the Supervisory Board. In the attachment to the agenda, you find the CVs of Marianne Heiss and Dr. Wolfgang Porsche, and also some additional information on the proposed elections. Both have already stated that should they be elected today, they would actually accept the election. The members who've left the Supervisory Board, Ms. Falkengren and Mr. Lies, well, I should like to thank them on behalf of all of the members of the Supervisory Board at this point as well, and in this place here, for the very good cooperation. So much for the changes in the composition of the Supervisory Board. Ladies and gentlemen, as already mentioned, fiscal year 2017 for Volkswagen Group and thus for the Supervisory Board was marked very much by changes. The Supervisory Board of Volkswagen AG addressed
besonders intensiv mit der Lage
the position and the development of the company against this background in the year under report. We supervised and supported the Board of Management in its running of the business and advised it on issues of management.
von grundlegender Bedeutung war.
All of the decisions that were of significant importance here, the Supervisory Board was involved directly. Furthermore, regularly, we discussed strategic considerations with the Board of Management.
Regelmäßig, zeitnah
The Board of Management informed the Supervisory Board regularly, promptly, and comprehensively in writing or in person on all matters of relevance to the company relating to its strategy, the business development, the planning and situation of the company, including the risk situation and risk management. The Board of Management informed the Supervisory Board in particular about improvements of risk and compliant management systems in view of the diesel crisis. On top of this, the Supervisory Board was kept posted about compliance matters and other topical issues. In all cases, we received documents relevant to our decisions in good time before the meetings. Moreover, on fixed dates, we received detailed reports of the Board of Management on the present business situation, the current business situation, and forecasts for the ongoing year. The variance in performance that occurred against the plans and the targets were explained by the Board of Management in detail, either in writing or in person. Together with the Board of Management, we analyzed the reasons for the deviances and we derived countermeasures. On top of this, the Board of Management reported in the meetings of the Special Committee Diesel Engines on a regular basis on current developments in the context of the diesel issue. Between the meetings, I met regularly with the Chairman of the Board of Management for discussions on important topical matters. Next to the diesel issue, we also addressed the group strategy, planning, business development, the risk situation, and the risk management, including questions concerning integrity and compliance of the Volkswagen Group. However, the Supervisory Board did not just keep in close contact with the Board of Management, but also was very active engaging in a dialogue with our stakeholders. For example, I had a number of discussions with investors on Supervisory Board specific issues. We thus followed a suggestion of the German Corporate Governance Code that had just been introduced the year before. In the fiscal year 2017, the Supervisory Board met 12 times. The average attendance ratio was 84.6%. All members of the Supervisory Board attended more than half of the meetings of the Supervisory Board and its committees, the committees that they were members of. Additionally, particularly urgent matters were adopted in writing or using electronic media. In the last fiscal year, 3 of the 5 committees of the Supervisory Board had meetings. The Executive Committee met 17 times. The Audit Committee met 5 times altogether. And we had also 11 meetings of the Special Committee Diesel Engines. Looking at this large number of meetings of the Supervisory Board and its committees, looking at that, you can see how intensively the Supervisory Board, also in fiscal year 2017, how intensively the Supervisory Board actually followed its tasks and met its supervisory and advisory tasks. The Mediation Committee and Nomination Committee were not convened in 2017. There is a detailed list of the meetings of the Supervisory Board and the committees and the topics dealt with. You find this on pages 12 to 17 of the annual report in the report of the Supervisory Board. Ladies and gentlemen, the Board of Management and the Supervisory Board on November 17, 2017 issued the annual declaration according to Section 161 German Stock Corporation Law on the recommendation of the German Corporate Governance Code. An explanation of all variances concerning the recommendations can be found in the Declaration of Conformity. The Declaration of Conformity, in turn, can be found on the internet pages of Volkswagen Aktiengesellschaft. As far as corporate governance of the company and the implementation of the recommendations are concerned, or the suggestions of the German Corporate Governance Code, so more information can also be found in our Corporate Governance Report, which starts on page 59 of the annual report. The report on relationships with affiliated companies presented by the Board of Management was audited by our auditor PricewaterhouseCoopers, Wirtschaftsprüfungsgesellschaft. The Supervisory Board also audited the report and approved the results of the auditor. The Supervisory Board also commissioned PwC, the audit the combined non-financial report for fiscal year 2017, necessary for the first time in this particular year. This report deals with the so-called Corporate Social Responsibility Directive of the European Union. The objective of this directive, and thus of the report, is in particular to increase the transparency on ecological and social aspects of companies in the European Union. After an independent evaluation of the non-financial report 2017, taking into account the results also of PwC, the Supervisory Board had no objections. Furthermore, I'd like to draw your attention to the written report of the Supervisory Board. As already mentioned, it starts on page 12 of the annual report. Dear shareholders, the members of the Board of Management received a remuneration of 50.3 million euros according to the Commercial Code for fiscal year 2017. The remuneration system approved last year and explained in detail at the AGM 2017 has not been changed since. Ladies and gentlemen, I now turn to a topic that's always been very important and still is very important and a great influence on the work of the Supervisory Board. The investigation and dealing with the consequences of the diesel crisis. The diesel crisis has led to major changes in our company. Volkswagen cannot be compared to the company that it was before the crisis. Also in the past year, we invested a lot of energy into investigating and dealing with the consequences of the diesel crisis. In the meantime, we've really made major progress. We haven't reached all the objectives yet, there's more to do, but the numerous changes in the group really let us look into the future with a great deal of optimism. Day in, day out, we keep working to gain your trust. One of the causes of the realignment is the transformation of our culture, something that is already tangible at Volkswagen. Part of our culture is not just to be law-abiding corporate citizens, but, of course, whatever we do, we always act with integrity. Therefore, we were greatly concerned and shocked when at the beginning of the year we had to learn about fume tests on monkeys. I should like to assure you emphatically on behalf of the entire Supervisory Board that we definitely distance ourselves from methods of this nature. These tests are not comprehensible in any way for us. We are absolutely opposed and against any type of cruelty against animals. How this could happen? Well, there are some comprehensive investigations underway at present. Ladies and gentlemen, the resolving of the diesel crisis continues also. Investigating the background has already progressed quite far. The law firm Jones Day has already done a great deal of work here. Jones Day actually completed their work. The work, that served to help Volkswagen AG to assess the criminal law charges against the company in the United States in the context of the diesel issue. However, as far as the investigation of the diesel issue is concerned, there is definitely more to be done. There are numerous cases pending worldwide against Volkswagen, and in order to be able to defend ourselves to the best of our ability, of course, we need to know even more about the events and what happened. One example is the investor model case proceeding, which is presently pending at the Upper Regional Court in Brunswick. Here, Volkswagen provided, at the end of February it was, a comprehensive brief which explains from the point of view of the Board of Management how the view of Volkswagen is concerning the events with relevance to the capital markets. Now, the Supervisory Board reviews continuously whether claims for damages vis-à-vis present or former members of the Board of Management have been filed or asserted in courts. Here, we focus solely on the best interest of the company and nothing else. We do review possible claims without any reservation and without distinction of person. We are supported here by the well-known and renowned law firm Gleis Lutz. For this investigation and review, of course, we still need to further investigate events. This investigation is supported by a number of external law firms. All of the law firms have been coordinating their work. So we keep working on the matter, and it is going to take some more time. Ladies and gentlemen, the German Association of Retail Investors, DSW, after the ordinary annual meeting in 2016, moved for the appointment of a special auditor by a court. After the regional court of Hanover decided that there was no reason for such a special audition, the upper regional court of Celle in November 2017 decided to appoint such a special auditor. We do feel that this judicial decision of Celle is not appropriate and incorrect, and we filed a constitutional complaint against it. Let me briefly explain something here. It is definitely not about preventing such a special audit, not at all, or sweep anything under the carpet. On the contrary, the diesel issue in the company, and I've kept reporting this, the diesel issue is something that we investigate very thoroughly and have been investigating. We do this first and foremost by our own internal investigations. We also have the public prosecutor's offices in Brunswick and Munich too looking into the matter. On top of this, because of the settlement with the US-American Department of Justice, a compliance monitor has been appointed, and he is going to monitor Volkswagen for 3 years. All this ties up enormous resources, and it does cause immense cost. A special audit will be an additional burden on our company and in particular also on our people, but it would definitely lead not to any additional knowledge being gained. The special auditor appointed by the Upper Regional Court of Celle has told us in the meantime that on grounds of age, he's no longer available for this special audit task. The DSW therefore requested to have this special auditor appointed by the Upper Regional Court to be replaced. We do feel that such a replacement is not appropriate and is not possible. The court has not yet decided on this.
Let me now talk about the monitorship. In June 2017, Larry Dean Thompson has taken up his work as an independent compliance monitor. He has a long experience in various legal professions. Among others, he was the U.S. Deputy Attorney General. As a prosecutor, he dealt with complex cases and also defended or carried out internal investigations as a partner of the law firm King & Spalding, and also defended individual persons and companies. His mandate is, among others, to monitor whether Volkswagen is in compliance with the duties of conduct arising from the settlements with U.S. authorities. He reviews compliance systems, submits proposals for improvement, and also monitors the implementation of such proposals. The Supervisory Board has observed and assisted very closely the activities of the monitor, and I personally had very constructive talks and conversations with Larry Thompson, and I'm convinced that we will profit from his very comprehensive experience. Ladies and gentlemen, the Board of Management and the Supervisory Board have independently proposed the ratification of the acts of the Board of Management and of the Supervisory Board for the fiscal year 2017. The Supervisory Board, in the context of his draft resolutions, obtained advice from the law firm Gleiss-Lutz. The results of Gleiss-Lutz were confirmed by Professor Dr. Götte, the former President of the Second Civil Division of the Federal Court of Justice. The Supervisory Board has had detailed discussions and decided to propose the ratification of the acts of all members of the Board of Management of the Supervisory Board for the fiscal year 2017. With this, we would also like to express our confidence and faith in the activities of the Board of Management. I would like to point out that with the ratification, we do not have any, or we don't ask for any waiver of claims for damages against members of the Board of Management of the Supervisory Board. Ladies and gentlemen, Volkswagen has emerged even stronger from the diesel crisis. Hence, we will now be able to dedicate all our strength to securing our future competitiveness in a rapidly changing environment, and this in a sustainable manner. This brings us to the resolutions which we have taken on April 12, 2018. After the very successful first phase of our realignment, Volkswagen has considerably accelerated its transformation. We make use of our experience that we've made over the past 2.5 years in order to realign our processes within the company in the future and revenue-oriented manner, and also in a competitive manner. For this purpose, the Board of Management and the Supervisory Board have adopted a further comprehensive development of the management structure. We are convinced that by doing so, we will create all the conditions in order to secure our position in the pole position of the automotive industry in a sustainable manner. And we also will mobilize all our strength of our group brands in the design of automobility of the future. And we will hear more about this by Dr. Dies in his presentation. The further development of our structures also goes hand in hand with personal changes. In order to secure the management of the group and of the core brand Volkswagen in times of dynamic changes, and in order to see to that our strategy 2025 will be pursued in a targeted and pinpointed manner, the Supervisory Board has appointed Dr. Herbert Dies as the successor of Matthias Müller as the Chairman of the Board of Management of the Volkswagen Aktiengesellschaft. Matthias Müller has done an outstanding work as Chairman of the Board. In autumn 2015, when the group had to face its biggest challenge in history, he assumed the function of the CEO, and he has managed and guided Volkswagen safely and successfully through this difficult time. The rate of change in our industry, however, is permanently increasing, and important decisions concerning the mobility of the future will have to be taken. This is about the development of the group in the fields of e-mobility, of digitization of transport and traffic, and new mobility services. For this, we need a management team which is in a position to implement these decisions from the very beginning and in a long-term perspective. Herbert Dies will be able to assume this task. The management of the brand of Volkswagen will simultaneously be held by Dr. Dies with the support of a chief operating officer who will be in charge of day-to-day operations. In this way, we make sure that the new management model will work efficiently. Dr. Dies has proven during the transformation process of the Volkswagen brand in an impressive manner with which speed and consistency he can implement profound transformation processes. And this achievement has predestined him for the mandate to implement our new group strategy in the years to come. And on top of this, also Dr. Blume, the CEO of Porsche AG, is member of the group of the Board of Management. He is also in charge of the division of production. The new member of the board for human resources is Gunnar Kilian. He succeeds Dr. Karl-Heinz Blessing, who has made a significant contribution in the reorientation and realignment of the group and of the Volkswagen brand in the past few years. Dr. Francisco Garcia Sanz will leave the company on his own request. Since the year 2001, he has developed a procurement organization of the most advanced type at Volkswagen. As head of the diesel task force, he has made a significant contribution to overcoming the diesel crisis. As the chairman of the supervisory board of the SEAT brand, he also made significant contributions to the renaissance of the brand. On behalf of the supervisory board, I should like to thank both gentlemen and the whole board of management for their personal commitment and the excellent results attained. The supervisory board places great confidence in the new board of management under the guidance of Dr. Dies and will offer its assistance and advice on all challenges ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your kind attention so far. I would now like to ask Dr. Dies to give us the report of the Board of Management. Thank you.
Shareholders, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure for me to address you today for the first time in my new capacity as the CEO of Volkswagen Group, to speak about the past fiscal year, the next steps in realigning our group, and about the outlook for 2018. In the 3 years that I have served as chairman of the Volkswagen brand, a great deal has happened in this company. At the end of September 2015, the manipulation of diesel engines in the USA were uncovered. Since then, our company has been working on dealing with the crisis, learning from mistakes, and making good the damage. At the same time, we've been putting a great deal of effort into getting the Volkswagen Group and its brands ready for a fast-changing new world of individual mobility. In those 3 years, I have grown to know and highly value the Volkswagen workforce. It is a strong team indeed that develops, produces and sells cars, motorcycles and commercial vehicles with tremendous passion and great skill. We have one of the strongest teams in this industry. That is also obvious from the way that our people have fought the diesel crisis, overcoming it step by step, and at the same time acquiring further skills for a new, better world of individual mobility. These qualities in our company have frequently been overshadowed since the onset of the diesel crisis, and given the numerous legal proceedings all over the world, at times it seemed as if a wagon circle or coral mentality prevailed at Volkswagen. This impression is wrong, and we must change it. I firmly believe that our company is open and transparent. Such openness is important to enable us to deal consistently with the problems in our organization, but also in successfully mastering the challenges that our industry is facing. Technological change will demand much of us. Massive investments are required. The pressure to adapt is enormous. In the coming years, our industry will reinvent itself as it addresses electrification, digital networking, autonomous driving, and new mobility services. This will result in a raft of new opportunities for individual mobility. We are tackling these tasks from a solid position indeed. That is evident in our key figures for the past financial year. Our operating business set new records. 10.7 million customers worldwide chose a vehicle from one of our brands. Sales revenue rose to more than 230 billion euros. Operating profit was also better than ever before. Before special items, it amounted to 17 billion euros, 13.8 billion euros after special items, even that, a new record. Practically without exception, our brands performed very well. Our core brand, VW, has also made excellent progress towards improved profitability and future readiness. In addition, the group's financial position is very robust, despite the considerable negative effects from the diesel crisis. Net liquidity in the automotive division today is at 24 billion euros, back to the pre-crisis level. I'm taking charge of this company in a good shape. We are on the right track to make Volkswagen ready for the future. 2.5 years ago, nobody would have thought us able to do that. In the beginning, maybe not even ourselves. The most important impetus for our realignment is our strategy Together 2025. We launched this plan for the future in 2016 to give the Volkswagen Group a new strategic direction. It was the right approach to take, and it remains viable and valid. Key areas of Strategy 2025 include the Roadmap E, the most far-reaching electrification initiative of our industry. Our innovative vehicle concepts, such as the Cedric, the Audi Icon, and the ID Vision, are a way to demonstrate the potential of fully autonomous driving. Moja, our young mobility services subsidiary, will soon be rolling out the first solutions for new urban mobility in Hamburg. We've also made progress in the collaboration between brands and the necessary changes in corporate culture. I will come back to that later. At this point, I would like to stress that Volkswagen did not falter during the crisis is not least an achievement of my predecessor Matthias Müller and his leadership. I would like to express my thanks and gratitude for his personal performance and the contribution which he made during this difficult time for our company. I would also like to thank our whole team in the group, our 640,000 employees, for their outstanding efforts on behalf of the group in the past year and for their willingness to embrace change, an absolutely essential ingredient for our company's financial success and transformation. And we are above all grateful to our customers who've remained loyal. At 10.7 million sales we delivered last year, we have a clear evidence of this. Substantial growth in all key regions of the world is behind this all-time record. My goal is to maintain and strengthen the trust that our customers worldwide are putting in us. Last but not least, I would like to thank you, our shareholders, for your patience and for your support during a time when it was not always clear how Volkswagen would overcome this crisis. Now, today, the figures speak for themselves, and our share price is back to pre-crisis level. Both the Board of Management and the Supervisory Board are consequently pleased to be able to propose a significantly increased dividend to 3.90 € per ordinary share and 3.96 € per preferred share. This means we're again approaching the pre-diesel crisis levels, and we're also holding firm on our target payout ratio of 30%. Ladies and gentlemen, the Volkswagen Group is in robust shape in both operational and financial terms. Our strategy is gaining traction. We are systematically tackling the major automotive issues of the future. However, the longest part of our journey still lies ahead. The crucial years of our transformation have yet to come. This particularly applies to the change of corporate culture that Volkswagen needs as a prerequisite for financial success. I'm firmly convinced that sustainable financial success is only possible if we have a healthy corporate culture. My first and prime objective is to lay the groundwork for this. As our experiences in recent years show, we have need for action here. Much has already changed in the Volkswagen Group. Since the diesel crisis, for instance, we've established golden rules for vehicle development. With the Code of Conduct, for the first time, we've established a group-wide integrity codex. And we have a group-wide integrity program which was established across brands and which is rolled out in all regions. We need robust structures, processes and programs, but most importantly, we need to act accordingly. And beside abiding by the rules and compliance with the law, the key here is always ethics and the moral compass and values, the internal guideposts that are followed by everyone in the company. In this regard, Volkswagen needs to become more honest, more open, more truthful, in other words, an upstanding corporate citizen, for many reasons, one of them being that it makes us less vulnerable to attack. Above all, this requires speaking uncomfortable truths. Not everything that is legal is always also legitimate, for example, or that we have too long underestimated the value of a more open corporate culture that does not repress dissent, but instead rewards us. And sometimes, along with all the well-deserved assertiveness, however justified it is, we would do well to practice a little humility sometimes. Unethical conduct and instances of non-compliance exist in every large organization. But to speak plainly, we clearly had too much of that going on until very recently. Changing this for my colleagues on the board and myself has the top priority. We are taking our orientation from the principles of our Ethics and Compliance Initiative, the ECI, as the acronym goes. In the US, this is a widely used but worldwide recognized standard. On its basis, we launched the comprehensive and group-wide program Together for Integrity. The initial focus of this work is structures and processes. We will take steps such as further expanding our internal whistleblower system and making it even more effective. We also aim to reinforce our compliance organization and make it more professional. A specific example is our supplier relationships, which we will align more closely with the compliance principles. In addition, we will continue to work hard on ensuring that all our products consistently conform to technical standards. Likewise important, we must permanently embed integrity and value-based behavior as an integral part of our corporate culture. In this, the managers and the leadership team is particularly called upon. We need to be a role model for our employees. Regardless of our level of hierarchy, we have to be trustworthy, honest and reliable. That means we at Volkswagen walk the talk, and we say what we do anytime, anywhere in the world. A positive culture of criticism needs to be lived and breathed. Despite all the good intentions, there is still some ground to cover. We need to adopt a culture of constructive dissent that allows us to learn from our mistakes. This is also what I mean by good corporate governance, to sanction misconduct, to penalize it, to communicate transparently, afterwards as part of our corporate culture. Stepping up the pace of our cultural change is one of the main things we want to accomplish this year and beyond. Larry Thompson, the independent US monitor at Volkswagen, says it very succinctly. Compliance and integrity must have the same importance in the company as vehicle development, production or sales. I unreservedly agree with this. Ladies and gentlemen, the diesel crisis was a painful watershed. It was difficult, as it clearly demonstrated to us how dramatic the consequences of dishonest conduct can be. We must and will do everything humanely possible to create the conditions to prevent something like this from ever happening again in our company. One of the responsible manners to address the consequences of this crisis in a responsible way is providing technical solutions to our customers. This year, we aim to conclude the recall for affected vehicles as far as possible. Currently, our processing rate is 94% in Germany and 76% in Europe and 69% worldwide. At the same time, we are striving to achieve a greater level of clarity in the various legal proceedings. We are dealing with many lawsuits and ongoing investigations as a result of the diesel crisis. These include civil cases, criminal proceedings, and regulatory actions worldwide. A comprehensive overview is provided in our annual report, starting from page 178. What is obvious is that working through those legal cases will take years. We've well prepared for this and professionally, and we're extremely serious about resolving all of these issues. Ladies and gentlemen, independent of this, it is a given that as Europe's largest automaker, Volkswagen needs to break new ground when it comes to developing the future of the diesel technology itself. After all, it is in part due to us that this environmentally friendly and efficient drive system has wrongfully fallen into disrepute. Like many others, we realized too late that the nitrogen oxide emissions in metropolitan areas are not falling fast enough and that we could eventually face driving bans as a result. We will do everything we can to prevent this from happening because we think bans are the worst possible solution. We've already upgraded 2.2 million Euro 5 diesel vehicles with new software. Further voluntary modifications will follow. This will cut nitrogen oxide emissions by up to 30% quickly and effectively. Thanks to the environmental incentive, which was extended till the end of June, we've already taken around 200,000 old diesel-powered vehicles off the roads in Germany and replaced them with more modern, new ones. And we concomitantly are investing a great deal of effort and money in increasingly efficient petrol, diesel, and CNG drives. Our next generation of internal combustion engines will cut CO2 emissions by another 6% and emit up to 70% less pollutants in real-world driving conditions than our best engines today. Ladies and gentlemen, legal and ethical conduct are cornerstones of sustainable corporate growth, and they are indispensable for the transformation of the Volkswagen Group as we head for the future. We have successfully kicked off this transformation, but we must not let up. We must persevere. On the contrary, our realignment must gather even greater momentum now. After all, the pace of change in the auto industry continues, and the pressure from all sides is growing. New aggressive competitors are entering our established markets and throwing into question our traditional business cases. The global economy currently is doing well. However, there is reason for concern with a view to the growing geopolitical uncertainty and unmistaken trend towards protectionism. In technological terms, we face a dual challenge. We must continue to improve current core technologies, the internal combustion engines in particular. At the same time, we must massively develop and expand new technologies, including electromobility and battery technology. Finally, the regulatory environment is growing ever more demanding and exacting. For instance, with the transition to the new worldwide harmonized light-duty vehicle test procedure, WLTP. Given all these challenges, it is clear that Volkswagen must act more quickly, efficiently, and systematically in taking decisions and implementing them both. In other words, we need to transform our group from being a slow, lumbering supertanker to a powerful fleet of speedboats. Our new group structure creates the foundations for this. We presented the general outline of this 3 weeks ago. In the coming months, we will develop the detail for this and implement it together with the brands. Today in the group, we are faced by too much complexity, and decision-taking is too slow. In many cases, we're duplicating work. Many decisions are taken too far removed from operations and from our customers. And there are lengthy approval processes between the group and the brands, creating too many inefficiencies. Our new leadership model will put an end to this. It's based on 4 principles. First, we will structure the group according to brand groups, which are divided by customer segment and price ranges. This creates more accountability, along with synergy in the development and use of technologies and in sales and distribution. This will make us more agile. Second, we will conduct our business according to the principle of subsidiarity. This means decisions are taken at the lowest possible level, closest to operations. Anything a brand group can decide should no longer be discussed at group level, or have to be discussed at group level. This will streamline our group's responsibilities and will make group management more efficient, along the lines of the motto, a lean group drives strong brands. Third, we'll distribute coordination tasks in the group among more people than before. In this way, the brand group chairman will also have group-wide duties. This will increase mutual responsibility and interdependence, and in a positive sense interdependence, which will in turn lead to greater collaboration as well as reinforcing the binding nature of decisions and their implementation. And fourth, Volkswagen Truck and Bus will be structured to be largely autonomous rather than be steered by the group, and is to be capital market ready in the foreseeable future. The heavy commercial vehicles business is fundamentally different from the passenger car business. We will take this into even greater account in the future. Now, how will we implement these principles exactly in the future? The Volkswagen Group will be divided into 6 operating units and the China region. The 6 units are as follows. First, the volume brand group with Volkswagen passenger cars, Skoda Seat, Volkswagen commercial vehicles, and Moya. Second, the premium brand group, including Audi, the Porsche holding Salzburg, and Lamborghini and Ducati. Lamborghini and Ducati will eventually be transferred into a super premium brand group along with Porsche, Bentley, and Bugatti. The 4th operating unit, Truck and Bus, comprises the MAN and Scania heavy commercial vehicles and, initially, power engineering. In the 5th unit going forward, procurement and component are going to be under a joint leadership. Through this unified leadership, we will bring to bear our technology competence and reduce frictions and inefficiencies. The 6th unit will cover our financial services and business with the Volkswagen Financial Services unit. Non-core businesses, such as Ducati, Renk, and MAN Diesel and Turbo, here will define sustainable prospects. These could result in expansion and growth strategies, but spin-offs are also conceivable. We're taking our time and address these issues with the requisite thoroughness as we develop them. This new leadership model will be supplemented by a clear assignment of responsibilities for core regions to the individual brands. And as already announced, Each member of the group board of management will additionally assume general group responsibilities in the future. Rupert Stadler will be in charge of group sales. Oliver Blume will be tasked with group production. Frank Witter will take care of the company IT. In my responsibility will be the top executives development, organizational development of the group, as well as the brand and product strategy. In addition, I'll also be in charge of vehicle IT and group research and development, although the latter is expected to be taken over by Audi in the future. All of this will make management of the group a joint responsibility. Everyone will have to do their share. Operations will continue to be the responsibility of the individual brands and units, and will continually improve cooperation between the group and the brands, and wherever necessary, will make adjustments. Ladies and gentlemen, the challenges ahead of us are not going to be addressed by going it alone individually, but as a team. Neither the individual nor any of those responsible will work individually. We will distribute the group responsibility to several shoulders, and this will create freedom for the unified management of the group and the core brand. We will work more smoothly together and take decisions faster and more efficiently. In both of my positions, I rely on strong teams. At the brand board management level, I'll be complemented by a chief operating officer who's responsible for daily operations. This is a newly created position which will be filled shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, with our new positioning and structure, we've laid the foundations that will enable the group and brands to tackle the ongoing technological revolution. E-mobility is coming. It is the engine of the future, and Volkswagen will be at the forefront of this work as the automaker that takes the electric car out of its niche and introduces it to the mass market. To this effect, we've created Roadmap E, the most ambitious electrification initiative in the industry. As a group, we aim by 2025, depending on the market development, up to 3 million all-electric cars per year, selling them, manufacturing them, and we will offer our customers more than 80 new electric vehicles, certified more than 50 all-electric vehicles. The 8 battery electric cars and plug-in hybrids we currently have will be supplemented by 10 new models. The first highlight will be the Audi e-tron to leave the assembly line at the end of August. The first premium electric car from our group will set new standards, will be the new benchmark, demonstrating how fascinating electric mobility can be. The same goes for the Porsche Mission E and the Volkswagen ID family, which will be introduced here in Germany from 2019. By 2020, we'll be offering more than 25 new electric models and more than 20 new plug-in hybrids to our customers across all brands and regions. In this manner, in just a few years, we'll offer the worldwide biggest electric vehicle fleets on the road. This includes our commitment to help expand the necessary charging infrastructure. For instance, through the Ionity joint venture, which is setting up 400 fast charging stations along major routes across Europe. Our commitment to systematically prepare our plants for the age of electromobility, particularly here in Germany. The Center of Excellence here in Salzgitter is developing the necessary know-how for cell technology, and at the same time, we secure the battery capacity that we shall need for our electric fleet. By 2025, we estimate that this will require 150 gigawatt hours per year capacity. For our module on the basis of the Modular Electrification Toolkit, MAB, this corresponds to a purchasing volume of around about 50 billion euros across this period. To date, the contracts awarded to suppliers have a volume of some 40 billion euros. This decision has already been taken. As an aside, these figures clearly indicate that the Industrial Alliance needs to make a unified, united effort to reopen an intensive dialogue on setting up battery cell manufacturing capabilities in Europe. We are moving full steam ahead with the other future trends as well. By the end of 2020, we'll have invested more than 34 billion euros into that, into electromobility, autonomous driving, new mobility services, and the digitalization of our products and the entire company. Our joint ventures in China will take up, in the coming years, an additional 15 billion euros for these technologies. Ladies and gentlemen, this brings me to the current fiscal year and our expectations for operations. We've made a very promising start into 2018. The first quarter closed with a new delivery record. March was the best single month ever in the history of the group. Sales revenue climbed to more than 58 billion euros during the first 3 months. At 4.2 billion euros, our operating profit again reached a very high level, only slipped slightly due to new measurement rules for derivatives. We've reaffirmed our forecast after the first satisfactory start of the year. The group continues to expect deliveries to customers in 2018 to moderately exceed the prior year's figure. Sales revenue is expected to be up to as much as 5% over the prior year's figure. For operating return on sales, we expect between 6.5 and 7.5%. Anticipated for the operating profit. We comfortably fit into this target corridor during the first quarter with a margin of 7.2%. We expect a tailwind from the continuation of our model initiative. The large number of new SUVs that we launched in 2017 are now spending their first full year on the road and will be rolled out to further markets in 2018. In addition, we will bring more than 70 innovations from across the group to customers. These include all new models, such as the Audi Q8 and the new compact Volkswagen SUVs for China, as well as important successors like the VW Touareg or the Audi X6. However, geopolitical uncertainties, volatile exchange rates, and the effects of the diesel crisis will continue to demand our attention. And when speaking about risks, we also consider that we're faced with WLTP, the new test procedure to determine emissions levels and fuel efficiency. We prepared very thoroughly for this change early on, which will take effect on the 1st of September 2018. The considerably more complex measurements will be taken according to a scheduled, coordinated across all brands. Our aim will be to make all the necessary technical adjustments to collect all of the necessary data within a very short transition phase. Nonetheless, external factors such as the availability of technical services and the capacity of the relevant regulatory authorities also play a role. Given our wide range of models, this requires enormous efforts by the group. This could lead to temporary bottlenecks in our sales progress, which we could encounter in unfavorable circumstances, and we're doing our utmost to minimize potential negative impacts on order activity and deliveries. Ladies and gentlemen, all in all, we expect 2018 to be another good year for the Volkswagen Group. A year in which we will make progress on our path towards becoming a better company in every respect. A year in which we lay the foundations for more efficiency. A year in which our operations are set to remain successful. A year in which our electrification initiative will begin to take shape even to people outside the company, and generally speaking, a year in which we will systematically drive our transformation forward, focused with more pressure and more momentum. Our goal and my goal is to transform the Volkswagen Group into one of our industry's leading companies in terms of earning power, innovation, and sustainability. Everyone in this group is 100% motivated to make this happen. And I ask you, our shareholders, to support us and to vest your trust in us during this process.
Ja, vielen Dank, Herr Dr. Dies.
Thank you, Dr. Dies. Ladies and gentlemen, now the point has come where I'd like to, I have to say, goodbye to those who actually followed the webcast on the internet. Instructions to proxy holders can be accepted until 1 o'clock electronically. There is one more thing that I'd like to draw your attention to, and that is that the results of the voting will also be published on the internet after the end of the meeting.